welcome back. I got the car booked yesterday for the NHRA chassis inspection to get the cage certified. So I have a bunch of stuff I need to get done on the car before it goes there on April 5th. So I only got a couple weeks. I just want to get all the inside wrapped up, and there's a couple little spots I got to finish weld the bars down to the outriggers, and then I want to finish weld the subframe connectors. They're pretty well done. There's just a couple spots I want to go over and make sure it looks really nice. I need to get the seat mounts finish welded on the rocker and the floor, and then I just want to clean up a bunch of stuff. If I have time, paint it, and I need to do some seam sealing where I patch the floor pans on both sides. And then I also want to start on the tin work for the rear. I got a sheet of 40 thousandths thick aluminum today that I can use to fill in the floor, build the firewall. I think the NHRA rules, the firewall has to be 32 thousandths thick aluminum, and at my local steel supplier they had 40 thousandths thick, which is overkill a little bit, but it's what they had, and it was cheap. It was like $80 for a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet, and I can get the rear covered in. Try to figure out if I can make a cover too for the lower seat area there, and then I am going to get to cutting those plastics around the wheel tubs. And I don't know if I'll have time before the chassis inspection, but there's a bunch of cleaning up I want to do on the firewall, plugging all the holes that I don't need. I'm waiting for this weekend. I gotta pick up some coils and all my EFI stuff, and I'm thinking I'm gonna mount the coils along the cowl here, just because it'll be easy to access. And I was gonna mount them on the valve cover, but I don't know if vibration is a big issue. I've never really dealt with the EFI before, but I figure they'll be really easy to service and not as annoying to take the valve covers off if I need to do any valve adjustments and stuff like that. So I think that's the only thing I have to add still in the engine compartment is the coils, and then I need a breather tank somewhere for the valve covers, but I'll probably just put that right on the front of the shock tower here, and then I've already got fittings in the valve covers to run lines for that. But I'll start working on the interior, getting it finished out before I take it for inspection, and then I'll probably get the engine and transmission and turbo kit and everything pulled out of the car, because I'm not gonna tow the car to Calgary with all that stuff inside of it. There's just not really any point. It's about a 3-hour drive for me, so I'm gonna pull as much of stuff out of the car as I need to and just basically have it as a roller. And yeah, so I'm gonna start get the seats out, and then I can weld the roll cage. I need to have the car here because my TIG welder doesn't move, but once I get the cage done, I'm gonna roll the car over here so I can do the cutting and welding I need inside, so that I'm not getting any sparks or too much dust on my dad's truck. So I'll get the seats out and start going on finishing the cage. Kind of changed direction a little bit on what I'm doing. I got everything on the car tore back apart, and I was gonna start doing the plastics and the tin work in the back, but I need to get the cage and stuff, at least some primer on it, so that when I tow it to the chassis inspection next week, all the tubing doesn't rust. And since I'm gonna do that, I'm while I've got the car apart, I'm gonna weld up all the holes on the strut towers and shave all the holes in the firewall that I don't need. So I'm gonna start working on filling all the holes in the firewall. Get it all sanded down, put some Bondo on it, make it look nice, and get it in primer. And then I'll jump back to the cage, finish up a couple things in the interior, finish up the seat mounts, and then try to get the whole inside of the car in primer too, so that nothing rusts while I drive to the city next week, because it's still snowing here currently, so I don't want the cage and everything else in the car to rust. So I'll get working on that and give you an update once I start welding on the front end. Okay, I'm about a little over halfway done cleaning up the front end. I've got obviously the whole passenger side inside here done, as well as the passenger side kind of outside here. Anyone who's done this job knows how terrible this is, especially with the undercoating that was put on these. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like a rubbery type undercoating. And the best way I've been doing is heating it up with a torch, scraping it off with the putty knife, and that gets the majority of it off. And then I'm just using like a heavy duty degreaser and some steel wool after, and that leaves a lot nicer finish. Obviously it gets all the nasty undercoating off there and leaves a good surface that you can paint to. So yeah, I just have this little corner left to do for now, and then inside the shock tower. And then once I get kind of the front half all cleaned up like that, I'll go ahead and get the strut towers, all the holes in them welded up. Okay, I have pretty well scrubbed every square inch of the car now to get it ready to put some paint on it. All the back is all scrubbed, and pretty well all the sound deadening is out of it, and it's ready to put some primer on it. I ran out of time to weld up the strut towers and close out all the holes on the firewall. It just takes so long to scrub all this undercoating off of this, and I need to get the car put back together and loaded on the trailer tomorrow to go to the city to get the chassis inspection done. So I'm gonna spray it down one last time with some acetone or brake clean and blow all the surfaces off, and then I'll get the quarter panels in the roof and anywhere that's painted. I'll get it all masked off, and then I can get all the cage and subframe connectors and any bare metal painted, so it doesn't rust on the trailer, because it dumped almost, well, it probably snowed four inches last night here, and it's warm again now, but yeah, I don't want anything to get wet and rust on the trip to Calgary. So I'll get this sprayed down one last time and spray some paint on it. Okay, got the couple coats of primer on everything, so it'll hopefully survive the trip to Calgary and none of the bars will rust or anything like that. Obviously I still have a lot of welding to do on the firewall and everything, so I'll have to do some of this work twice, but I just ran out of time to get it all done now. So I've got to get it loaded on the trailer tonight, so I'm gonna start getting suspension put back under it, and yeah, we'll get it loaded up. You've seen the video I did a few weeks back when we built the steering column. It was a touch too long, so I had to shorten it, and when I did that, it made the steering shaft too short to work. So I need to steer the car to get it on the trailer, so I got a replacement one from Performance World, so I'm just going to cut this one to length and get it in and put the wheels and tires on this thing, and it'll be ready to load up on the trailer. Okay, I got back from the chassis inspection yesterday and everything went well. And the cage got tagged for $850, so it's all legal and ready to go. For anyone wondering if they're going to do a chassis inspection, main things they were looking for is bar diameter, make sure all the bars are the right size in the right places, the location of all the bars to make sure they fit in what the NHRA and SFI guidelines are and all the bars are in the right spot, and then they inspect the welds on pretty well all the joints, make sure everything's welded 100% the way around, especially on the anything near the roof, and then they had a sonic checker to make sure that the thickness of each tube was correct. So yeah, it only took about 20 minutes for them to check it all out, and we got the sticker, so that part's ready to go. I have to take all the front end back apart again now and get the strut towers all welded up and smoothed. It's not necessary really, but it'll look a lot nicer, and then all the holes that aren't going to have a grommet for wiring to pass through, we'll also make templates and get all of those welded back closed. So the next video will be getting the whole front end all smoothed out and painted again, and I also got to patch that hole where the e-brake was, and then I can paint everything the color it's going to be, which I haven't decided yet. Probably like a grayish color or something. I want to repaint the entire car eventually, because it's a factory reef blue color, but there's lots of issues. There's lots of, I guess I shouldn't say lots of issues, but there's a couple cracks in the paint, and I think it's on this side. There's a lot of chips in the paint, and one of the doors has a small little ding in it. There's a little ding on the fender well there, so I'm not gonna have time to do that this year, but I'm hoping this winter I can repaint the entire car. But yeah, for now I'm gonna get the car tore back apart and start welding up everything on the front end. Thank you for watching.